not circling Hydra. Alright, guys.
And it's time for humanity to stand up in the info war and say, I don't know what's going to happen at the end of this, but you want to fight, you better believe you got one!
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roger Stone was about to leave the airport, but he's delayed his flight back to Florida so that he can break this down with us here in studio right now. I normally get really excited on air because these are very excitable times, but we've been doing about an hour of research here on two different big subjects, and I'm going to try to be as calm as I can because this is so big. We have a Comey memo, the New York Times.
Hey, welcome whoever's watching me on Periscope. What's up, guys?
Flynn investigation.
No beer yet.
Supposedly in the memo, if it's real, we've seen Comey
it's been
put a lot
hard.
of disinformation. Trump didn't really do anything, but that isn't what matters. What matters is this guy has been on the board of HSBC.
I did go ahead and
big corrupt multinational bank caught in all the money laundering, and has a long history of cases ending favorably for the Clintons. That's why Barack Hussein Obama put him in.
Anyways,
and even after the Democrats said get rid of him because their lapdog didn't act perfectly the way they wanted, he kind of hedged his bets. They're upset now that Trump got rid of him, but Trump got rid of him because this guy is his own man and is in the way of restoring the republic. We'll get Roger Stone's expert breakdown, former head of the Trump campaign, here in just a moment. Big hit show, obviously, hit documentary, #1 in the country right now. Get Me Roger Stone. I just saw that a few nights ago. It's amazing on Netflix. But here's the big news. And I really got angry at myself about an hour after the broadcast ended at 3 o'clock Central today when I went and read deeper into the headlines. And I saw a Zero Hedge article at Infowars.com, the great folks at Zero Hedge, and I saw it on Drudge. And I went, where did they get that? Because I looked at all the news this morning and I didn't see that. I'd heard that from sources, but I didn't know that. It was hiding in national Fox News report and in the local Fox News report with the quotes, not just of the former NYPD detective that is a private investigator hired by the family, but by a federal source. So it's not just like the PI said all this. He gave him a federal source who talked off record and said, quote, murdered DNC staffer Seth Rich shared 44,053 Democrat emails with WikiLeaks. Now, that's basically what Assange said. He says, we don't give up our sources, but he's dead now. I can tell you he could be our source. I'm not going to say, but we've got a bounty out. What's that tell you? So you look at where they got this information. Fox News has the link to it. This is so bombshell. The federal investigator who requested anonymity said the 44,000 plus emails and 17,761 attachments. Wow, that's documents. So Lord knows one attachment could be 100 pages or one. The federal investigator who requested anonymity said the 44,000 emails and 17,000 plus attachments between Democratic National Committee leaders spanning from January 2015 through late May 2016 were transferred from Rich to McFadden before May 21st, which we knew. And then, of course, he was killed in July. And then by August, we were on air saying they clearly murdered him. We played that clip earlier today. So I'd love to say, hey, we predicted that, Guilfoyle at Fox would be the new press secretary last week, which they're now saying she's in the vetting to do. But that's a little side issue. That's a happy issue. This is a sad, sad issue because here it is from Fox News. Here it is from Zero Hedge pointing it out. And there's more coming out. Was DNC hack an inside job? After all, yes, absolutely not the Russians, but a patriot who's dead. His family hires a PI because he shot a bunch in the back and nothing's stolen. That was in the police report.
Yes.
Now they're backing
Damn
off
it, we're
saying,
lagging.
We just don't want to say anything. But are they going to claim the private investigator is a liar and now this unnamed federal officer? This country is in a civil war against corrupt interest. We have the New Yorker magazine calling for the United States to have never been formed today, while they claim John Trump is a traitor. No, the president is not a traitor, and that's why the traitors of the world are lined up to try to take him out. Then there's the sub-question, I'll hand the baton to Stone. Did the Washington Post publish dubious Russia story to discredit from Seth Rich bombshell? I think the obvious answer is yes, but now they're on to a new one, which is Comey and his supposed paper trail on the president. You can see them upping the attack before he goes on his first world trip and looks presidential and cements the deal even further. Not just $3 trillion in the stock market, $300 billion in new jobs, not just killing TPP, not just 43% down illegals, not just getting a great Supreme Court justice cemented. No, they want to erase all of that in their admissions in New Yorker magazine and Foreign Affairs. They want to remove Trump. To the final war of Armageddon for the future, figuratively, of this republic. So we go from Seth Rich and the new developments, incredible federal investigator telling Fox News, yes, he was the leaker, not the Russians. Huge. It wasn't the Russians. It was a patriotic Democrat that didn't like the fraud and the evil. Boom, huge. They respond knowing this had just come out, just like they did to the original Seth Rich yesterday with the Washington Post hoax about the secrets that were laptops with bombs that was in the news 2 months ago. Now they've clearly brought out the new Comey memo they had waiting to obscure this.
Shit.
That's my take. We haven't pre-war gamed this. Roger and I have been researching privately in our offices for the last hour. Roger Stone, you've got the floor. Break it down.
Alex, this reminds me of when the president gave a masterful State of the Union address. And 2 days later, to try to tamp down the public acclaim and the enthusiasm, they leaked the story that Attorney General Jeff Sessions, when he was a U.S. Senator, met with the Russian ambassador, as if that were a crime. You see this pattern again and again, where the administration has some positive information to put out, or has an uptick of results. Economic results, for example, and the mainstream media will go out and fabricate a story to try to tamp the president's success and his popularity down. That is precisely what's happened here. The significance of the Seth Rich story is that it is a mortal blow to the whole phony Russian collusion narrative. Now, for the first time, we have proof that the Russians did not hack the DNC emails. And that's why they wanted to bury this story.
And with perfect, you're so on target, but with perfect choreography, like it's a ballet dance, now that that's imploded, they move like the FBI so often does when there's no real crime, to the obstruction and the lying to the FBI or trying to influence a case. So perfectly, as that little stepping stool across the pond melts into oblivion, a new one pops up and a whole new scandal.
This is the Comey story from today's New York Times is extraordinary because, first of all, this is not a tape. Mr. Comey does not have a tape of the president. He has his recollections of a meeting. Well, this is the same guy who recollected the wrong number of emails that Huma Abedin supposedly sent to Anthony Weiner's server. Why should we believe this guy? This is a CYA memo. For all we know, Comey wrote it this morning. A man who will cover up the HSBC crimes and then profit personally from it cannot be trusted. He has no great reputation for veracity. Just the opposite is true. He covered up the Sandy Berger crimes for the Clintons. He covered up the Mark Rich bribery to get a pardon. That again, Mr. Comey. So why should we believe him? I think he shredded his public credibility on the Hillary Clinton email issue alone. Who would detail her crimes in great detail and then reach the conclusion that she should not be prosecuted?
And then you've got waltzing onto the airplane, Bill Clinton, while he's under criminal investigation. And let's go back to that. We've got Comey calling Trump crazy that he was surveilled. Now it's all confirmed and on record. You've got him running HSBC after he covered up for its crimes. And then you've got Trump properly showing he's got good guys in the Bureau telling him what's going on. Hey, you better watch what you make up because there's probably tapes, dumb butt. And so I think Trump trumped him, to use the pun. I mean, clearly he did trump him. Trump's telling him, watch out what you make up, because they've been passing these memos, these fantasy novels, these little love letters to Hillary Clinton that Comey's been writing in his daydreams. I mean, isn't that powerful now that we know Trump 3 days ago said, watch out, there might be tapes?
We now know that the president anticipated this and he moved to checkmate it. Mr. Comey should be concerned that perhaps the president...
How about he gets indicted for covering up for Hillary?
Those
I am
assholes.
sick of hearing when Hillary committed all these crimes and Obama did, and opening the borders and saying he's above the law and selling us out to China, and then these damn traitors point at our champion who is actually trying to restore the republic and say he's the criminal. I'm done. This is a civil war.
What do we know? How do we know that the president did not direct the Secret Service to tape the conversation? I think it's likely.
And that's his prerogative. He has his branch of government.
That is correct. So it looks to me
and
like...
Comey serves him in that branch. The presidency created the FBI.
So if
to fight communists like the globalists.
If the tape does not match Mr. Comey's recollection, assuming the tape does in fact agree,
then it's basically perjury to the public.
That's what it appears.
Who can't see the map?
This is so obviously a fabrication by Comey, and you're right. It fits this mosaic. It's like a timeline. Every time the president does something good, every time the president achieves a significant...
He has a good address to Congress, they roll out some new lie.
Right.
He has a good meeting with a leader, they roll out some lie. He catches terrorists, they roll out a new lie. He's about to go on a world trip, they roll out a new lie. They get caught with the Seth Rich stuff, they roll out a new lie. Now we expose that as a lie, they roll out another lie.
I mean, it is interesting that the Times story actually says that the memo was part of a paper trail Mr. Comey created, documenting what he perceived as the president's improper efforts to influence a continuing investigation.
That's right. Let's show that New York Times article on air.
What are the other items in this paper trail? There is no Russian collusion. Therefore, Mr. Comey has come up empty-handed. Why would it be wrong for the president to point that out, that this is
exactly.
fraud?
At that point, we already had 3-4 months of fake investigation. Congress is saying it's fake. And he's like, hey, he's resigned. I hope we can just drop this. The president's allowed to say, I hope this is no big deal. He's a good guy. And the director says, yeah, he's a good guy. It's all right there. I've got my article here. In fact, I'll show people right here. Comey, memo says Trump asked him to end Flynn investigation. I hope you can let this go. It goes on to say the memo to the Times reporter. They read this to him. They won't show it to him. I hope you can see your way. I hope you can see your way. Your way. Meaning I hope that this isn't an issue. I hope, when you're 14 years old and you get caught stealing beer out of the neighbor's cooler, I hope the cops will the neighbor drops this. I hope you can see your way clear. Not I'm the president, I'll destroy you if you don't do what I want. No, I hope you can see your way clear to letting this go, to letting Flynn go. That shows a lot of loyalty to Mr. Trump, Mr. Comey, according to the memo. He is a good guy. I hope you can let this go. Mr. Trump told Mr. Comey that Mr. Flynn had done nothing wrong. See, he didn't say, he did something wrong, you better stop. He said he's done nothing wrong. Hope you can let it go. That's his free speech in America. But Comey runs off. Mr. Comey did not say anything to Mr. Trump about curtailing the investigation, only replying, I agree, he's a good guy. In testimony, this is key, to the Senate last week, the acting FBI director, remember, it's in a memo 3 times that Comey wasn't investigating Trump. Andrew G. McCabe, the acting director, said, there has been no effort to impede our investigation to date. Your damn witch hunt?
3 years.
Got the Clintons caught naked with
Let me
Chinese sock
exit out of all these.
The Russians are a little hors d'oeuvre over here on the side, and then you're trying to claim that Trump is this Ruski agent. Give me a break.
Yeah, let's recognize right now. Let's go back through that contradiction. On the one hand, Comey says he created the documents he created this paper trail to document the president's improper efforts to influence a continuing investigation.
That's paragraph 3.
Yet the current acting FBI director said there has been no effort to impede our investigation to date. So which is it? You see, this is how you can tell.
And this is why Comey, this had to...
All right, let me go ahead and stop that. Pause this. It might be me. I don't know. There it goes.
Go, because the Bureau and the real things going on says one thing, then Comey and the Democrats say another. Trump's like, hey, he's resigned. I don't think he did anything wrong. I hope this goes away. You know, God, of course you do. You know, it's like your son gets in a fist fight at school. Hey, I hope this can go away. Then it goes on. Again, McCabe's saying there's been no effort to impede them so far. So a major contradiction. I'll give it to the New York Times. At least they admit this. If it was the Washington Post, they wouldn't even show that.
This is really evocative of the Washington Post story of this morning, where they created something out of whole cloth. The president told the Russians that he's concerned that ISIS is developing technology to use laptop computers as bombs on planes, which has appeared in every major paper in the country.
For 2.5 months.
And they make it sound like he has given away the nuclear codes. I mean, it is really extraordinary.
Here it is, New York Times, Washington Post. U.S. raid in Yemen led to laptop ban. I mean, here it all is. There's hundreds of articles. Let's bring in Rob Dew, the InfoWars Nightly News director, great researcher, to give his take on this. I drug him in here because he's helped us go over this. This is clear, though, Rob, every day it's a new fake scandal, but they don't care. They're just hammering. He's got leakers all around him. But I got to tell you, out of all this, the Seth Rich thing, you're right when you said this last night, and when we look at it today, and Paul Watson wrote the article pointing it out, did Washington Post publish dubious Russia story to distract from Seth Rich bombshell? Clearly, then it comes out that federal investigators are saying, yeah, no, he gave the emails, he's the leaker, it's not the Russians. This is clearly to cover up their whole narrative just imploded, and now they're bringing out stuff they were probably planning a few weeks from now, their next phase. So we forced them to early launch the next demonization phase.
Yeah, most likely. And they're still empty-handed on the whole Russian narrative. They still have nothing.
It's beyond empty-handed.
I think this is a major blow to that whole meme. We now know definitively that Seth Rich was in touch with WikiLeaks. When I said this to Mike Isikoff of Yahoo News, he accused me of being a conspiracy theorist. Oh, no, it was a robbery. There is no evidence.
Yeah, you were out with Guilfoyle this weekend, and a week ago, plus we learned she would probably be the person now. It's admitted, and we're just horrible because we have contacts. Because all these lazy journalists hate it.
When we have sources, yeah, they hate it when we have sources. They despise it. And they want to know who our sources are, as if we should give up our sources. Yes, I was told by a source in August that Julian Assange and WikiLeaks had the goods on Hillary and they would dump them in October.
And it came out.
And it was all true.
Doesn't mean we're like the Russians. Oh, excuse me. Oh, Putin, yes, I get the orders. It's not Putin. It's the U.S. intel agencies. I've been told by people that are currently high-level CIA. They can't stand the globalists. They're done. And that's another thing. I'm not saying the CIA is perfect or good or whatever. It's a mixed group of people. The CIA, Defense Intelligence, all of it, they're done with the New World Order. They're done with globalism. They know it's a fraud. So when we hear it's the whole CIA and the whole intelligence agencies after Trump, it's not true. It's the top-level Obama, Clinton holdovers, as you keep pointing out, that he can't get rid of because he's brought in the wrong people that are stalemating him.
There are some in the bureaucracy who have burrowed their way in, who are neocons. But in no way are we trying to impugn the patriotism of individual FBI agents, individual Secret Service agents, individual CIA agents. Those agencies have many, thousands, I would say, of employees who are patriotic Americans trying to do the right thing.
And I'm not in the business of kissing their butt, but this last election, they were the MVPs. They're the ones that got WikiLeaks the info. Democrats, CIA, FBI, Secret Service met with us and said, get ready.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop the stream real quick and see if this helps.
It happened a week later.
Exactly.